Hi, welcome to SportsZone. In today's episode of SportsZone, I'm your host, David Castillo. We've got a ton to get into today, but let's start with the Dallas Cowboys. I'm here with Kevin Pacheco and Terrence Williams. You guys ready to get into it?
Go.
Okay, guys. Now, I know last week not many people were very optimistic about the Cowboys. I guess this week there's not going to be many more people who are going to be optimistic. I want to go to you, Terrence. Please give us a little recap of what happened on Sunday.
All right, so if we're going to give a real quick recap of the game, honestly, the Dallas Cowboys sucked. They played a terrible game. They gave up over 307 yards rushing. 307 yards rushing. Not only that, Baker Mayfield only threw for 165 yards on passing. So honestly, the Dallas defense was just terrible. But overall, they did try to make a good comeback. Dak Prescott had over 507 yards and 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception that late in the game. He did play a very good game in my opinion. Zeke, not present in my opinion as well. But overall, I'm going to say Mike Nolan and his defense lost this game for the Cowboys.
Yeah, it seems like the defense's efficiencies or deficiencies have really hindered the Cowboys going forward. I want to go to you, Kevin. Please give us a little bit of a heads up of maybe what the Cowboys can do going forward with the defense, or is there anything scheme-wise that needs to change?
Yeah, they completely got to change that defense. I mean, how do you only allow 150 passing yards in today's NFL and allow 40 points or so? I mean, they just got dominated the whole game. They were overpowered. And offense, they got some things going, but also they went the second and third quarter scoring 0 points. So something's going to happen there too. I mean, you can't go, 2 quarters without scoring any points.
No, I absolutely agree. We touched a little bit on it last week as far as Dak's stats not translating to wins. Terrence, what is it about Dak that it's not translating? We're not able to get past that barrier, and we're still getting losses week after week.
Well, honestly, his team is costing him. It's the defense. Like, if we're being honest, the defense has cost him 2-3 games in a row now, honestly. Dak Prescott's been playing pretty efficient, pretty well, with his wide receivers being a little iffy sometimes. But on that last play with Amari Cooper, he should have fought for that ball. But Dak Prescott's been doing really well. I think he needs to stay on the path he's on and just keep focused on what he's doing, and he'll be fine. He just needs to really get his other players involved, get Zeke back involved, and get this defense together. Because honestly, giving up 31.5 points a game, that's not going to get it done. You're third lowest in the league. That's not going to get it done, and that's not helping Dak Prescott out at all.
Yeah, I just want to go off of what Terrence said real quick. And it really isn't Dak Prescott's fault. I mean, last season, you could argue he was getting the yards, not scoring any touchdowns. But the team's putting up over 30 points per game except week 1. So once the defense allows more than 30 points, that's got to be on the defense.
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, Dak can't make a comeback every game. I mean, can he lead? Can the defense help him out a little bit more, honestly?
Yeah, I think it should distract people or not distract people from the fact that Dak is very deserving of his contract going forward. And that's something that I think at this point, I got 2 people up here who will not disagree that Dak is deserving of that. Going forward, again, we touched on the defense, and Jerry Jones was just recently on 105.3 The Fan saying that he doesn't think that there's any talent outside the team that they need to get in order to help the team win. Do you believe that? Kevin, I'll go to you first.
I mean, what I think he's really trying to say is I'm not going to sign anybody because I'm going to sign Dak Prescott. Right now, we don't have any money, so we're just trying to save that whenever his contract comes up.
I'm going to say he made a mistake by first off signing DeMarcus Lawrence for that big contract of $100 million when he hasn't even produced a sack this season, honestly. And we signed Griffin. He hasn't done much for us as well. But the biggest mistake overall, and I would say it is a mistake, but at the same time, it was a good pickup for us. We picked up CeeDee Lamb. Of course, not most people are going to pass up on CeeDee Lamb if he's on the board, but don't you think we should have got a DB in that spot? Because, I mean, honestly, look at the secondary. It's non-existent.
Yeah, they could have used a defensive player for that pick. But, I mean, you look at the numbers CeeDee Lamb is putting up. You can't argue that it was a bad pick. Yeah, they really do need defense, but he's by far the most breakout rookie of the NFL this season.
Yeah, for sure. And then besides Mike Nolan having his job, since he hasn't been coaching the defensive coordinator since 2014, and when he did, his defense was 31st in the league, and we somehow give him this job, that's a bad call on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I think we all can agree the defense, if it doesn't get fixed, there's not going to be much outlook that looks promising for the team. Quickly, I wanted to ask you guys, Zeke has had 2 weeks where he's been troubling. Quickly, do you think it's something he's going to break out of this week? Terrence?
Yes, hopefully. I mean, honestly, it's just going to have to be behind the offensive line. If the offensive line is better, then yeah.
Kevin, quickly.
I mean, you're facing the Giants, anything's possible.
Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
guys. We're going to be right back, and after this, we'll be talking UNT football after the break. Welcome back to SportsZone. UNT had a tough loss to Southern Miss in their first conference game on Saturday. Brandon Brown and Courtney Glider are here with me to get into it. Now, guys, are you guys ready to discuss, again, a 1-2 UNT football team?
Oh, you know it. You know it.
Okay, I'm going to go with you, Courtney, first. Give us a little bit of a rundown of what you saw on Saturday.
Yeah, honestly, there was a lot to kind of break down in this game, kind of starting with the missing players, honestly, on both sides of the football field. Southern Miss were missing about 20 players, as well as UNT. North Texas missing their leading rusher. And I think both of these teams went into this game feeling like this was a must-win for them, and they're both trying to find their identity. So there was a lot to go into it, and I think that Southern Miss they weren't the better team, but in regards to schematics, they won this one.
Yeah, Southern Miss definitely gave it to UNT, and they took it to them. Now, Brandon, what would you say about the running attack Southern Miss came in with on Saturday?
Oh my gosh. Southern Miss's running attack was so much better than ours. I mean, they came in with that game plan knowing, okay, this is how we're going to attack UNT. I mean, look, the defense for UNT it's been weak. It's been weak all season. It's been weak since week 1. It's been weak for this game. And they knew that their rushing attack was going to get them the W, and it did, and it showed.
Well, you're right. You know, there's not much difference in as the stats go for the rushing team, so it wasn't too much, but Frank Gore Jr. really took it to UNT. And, I mean, he had that one touchdown, but overall he had 130 yards on the team. You know, previously UNT had kind of been dealing with a 2-quarterback system. This week, it looked like Ani took the job, and it looks like it might be his to lose. Courtney, give us a little bit of a rundown of what you saw in his play.
Yeah, honestly, I have no major complaints about Austin Ani. Of course, he had those two fumbles in the game, but his performance was not that bad. And I think that UNT has finally found their starting quarterback and their leader for this team. He had about over 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he threw for 47 passes. He completed about 28 of those. That's not the best, but it's not bad either. So I think that they have a leader in this team, and I think from there, they're going to have to decide their identity now that they found who their leader is.
Brandon, do you have any insight on Austin Nani? I mean, again, he's kind of taken that role this past week, and it doesn't look like he's looking back.
I've got kind of a intense take here, but I think Austin Ani might be one of the best quarterbacks in the coming years that UNT has ever had. I think I look at him play, and I look at all the tools that he has to succeed, and I'm looking at him, and he's still young. He's still got some time to develop and be nurtured by the offense. And I think, honestly, I don't know if I'm ready to say he's going to be the next Mason Fine, but I think he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks, if not one of the best that UNT has ever seen step on that football field.
That is brave. And I mean, that's a brave take. I'm with you because I like brave takes. I'm always there with you. I might not necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Mason Fine was here for a couple years, and he proved to be not just an outstanding student athlete, but a great kind of community member at Denton. But I wanted to go ahead and ask you, Courtney, next week we are going to be playing Charlotte, who happens to be 0-2. Is there anything going forward that UNT might be able to do that might actually make them 2-2 next week?
I think one of the significant things, like as we've seen in this past game, UNT's offense wasn't that bad, but a lot of the times in the previous game as well, you'll see that they take deep balls first and often in the first half. A lot of the times, trying to take that risk in that big game play. I think that they have to settle with these immediate passes and get the chains moving, and that'll be like significant for them in this game.
I'm going to go to you, Brandon. Again, we're 1-2. It doesn't look too promising. I mean, for you, Austin Ani looks like he might be the truth. So going forward, what do you see the team doing?
I think they need to go back to what they did early on and lean on that rushing attack. I mean, I know they were missing players, but you saw how they did early on with that rushing attack. They were able to get a W. They were able to put up some serious stats. And I think also leaning on the rushing game is going to help Austin Ani feel more comfortable and more present in this offense.
Look, I think we all agree that the offense is something that we can kind of hang our hat on, but we're going to have to go ahead and hope that our defense starts coming through. Now, Courtney, I'm going to go to you quickly. Is there an outcome you see where the defense can kind of be the shining factor in next week's victory?
I hope so. That's the only thing I can really say. But I think that it's going to come down to maybe switching up what they're used to. Like the 3-man front, they may have to switch that to try to play with what they have going on to see what works for them. I think identifying their issues and adjusting to that is going to be significant.
Now, quickly, guys, I'm going to go to each of you. Win or loss? Brandon?
For next week, I see a loss. I don't know. They've been struggling all year, and I think they're going to lose this next one.
Courtney, quickly.
Loss.
Oh, gosh. Well, LeBron hit a speed bump on his way to the 4th NBA title. We'll decide if Miami's mounting a comeback coming up next. Welcome back, guys. We just finished talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and now we're going to jump to the NBA Finals. Last week, or actually just a couple days ago, Miami was able to mount a comeback and get that third game victory. I'm going to go to you, Jocelyn. Let's give me a little bit of rundown of how Miami was able to clinch that game.
Butler, the team leader. Jimmy Butler actually was able to go in and take game 1 and 2 and actually turn it around. I mean, he ended up getting his first triple-double, which he really didn't care about, honestly. But all he did was care about winning. I mean, that's 40 points, 13 assists, 11 rebounds, making him the first player to outscore, out-rebound, and out-assist LeBron James while also being able to win the game. And I think that's one of the things that really kicked off. Butler was heated, as well as Kelly. I mean, you have these young players that are actually made a final series a game. Like, at first I was a little skeptic. I was like, please don't let LeBron James and the Lakers literally sweep the Miami Heat. I mean, I was against them at first, but now I am rooting for the underdog. So, I mean, it just happens with the loss that they endured in game 1 and 2. I mean, what can you say? They have to come back with a rebellious break. And, you know, I think Jimmy Butler just really showed that he's the leader. He's ready to win. He's ready to get a championship.
Well, hold on. I need somebody to cue up, rewind the tape. I'm pretty sure when the finals began, Jocelyn was praising the Lakers. There's no way they're going to lose. And I think she's got a Jimmy Butler jersey in her backpack. Let me go ahead and switch it up. Now, will you go ahead and let us know what you think, Zach, about the Lakers' chances going forward in Game 4?
I am a huge Heat fan. I want the Heat to win so badly, but I am afraid of LeBron. LeBron being embarrassed like that in the finals, I am terrified of what that man is going to do. LeBron does not like getting beat like that. You could tell he was pissed off after that game. And oh man, I'm worried about it. I think the Lakers will win this game. I think the Heat can get another game, but LeBron's something to be afraid of in this game right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen LeBron that heated since he lost to the Mavericks in 2011. We'll get to another subject at that. We'll talk about that later. But I did want to say, you know, it doesn't help that AD only came in with 15 points and 5 rebounds. Jocelyn, is that something that going forward they're going to be able to survive on if they want to go ahead and win Game 4?
I think with AD making the early mistakes that he did, and that's going in fouling really early in the game, having to sit out and not, he just seemed so unfocused. Like, he was confused about a lot of things. And I think with AD, as the AD that we know, I think this is something he's going to come back just like LBJ. LBJ was kind of not really on the fence about his performance, but he knows that AD is one of the players that he actually looks out for and that he is basically leaning on to pull off this win. And I think AD will turn it around. He knows where he messed up. You can tell. So I think we'll see a different side of AD when they play tonight. So
I don't know. I think, you know, the Lakers, the Heat, Eric Spoelstra, fantastic coach. He figured out how to stop these Lakers teams. You know, he surrounded Jimmy Butler with 4 different shooters on the outside. So Jimmy Butler was able to attack the paint and get AD into foul trouble quickly. And I think if they can continue doing that, AD is going to have a lot of trouble in this series.
Yeah, you did mention Eric Spoelstra, and I want to say I haven't seen him struggle this much in coaching since, again, 2011 against the Mavericks. But let's move forward. Is that someone that we want to go ahead and talk about as maybe potentially being snubbed out of Coach of the Year? I'm going to go back to you, Zach, on something on that subject.
I don't think he was snubbed for Coach of the Year. This year, there was a bunch of fantastic coaches in the NBA, Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, and Billy Donovan from the OKC Thunder. I think Eric Spoelstra, right now, we're looking at him as one of the greatest coaches of all time, just because of his sustained success with this Heat team. With different players, you know, different eras of basketball, he has been able to sustain success with the Heat team, but not this year. This year, there's too many good coaches that deservedly finished above him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jocelyn.
I can actually kind of agree. At the same time, do I feel like he gets the credit that he deserves? No. He is one of the best defensive coaches in the NBA. And with that, I mean, he done had great players come under his reign. I mean, even LBJ has been under his reign when he had the big 3 with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. So, I mean, at the end, he wasn't snubbed, but he still deserves the credit that he doesn't get.
No, I absolutely agree. His 2-3 defense that they've kind of implemented against the Lakers to try to offset their size obviously was an issue in Game 3. Game 4 is about to be, I believe, today, and that's something I'm going to be watching. I can't wait to see it. Zach, is going forward, is there something that the Lakers are maybe, they got a kryptonite on the other side that they have to worry about?
I think if Miami can continue to do what they did in Game 3, Jimmy Butler has to be near perfect for the Miami Heat to win. But Bam Adebayo coming back should be a really interesting topic. You know, I really hope the Heat can win this game, but I think the Lakers are going to take this next game.
Jocelyn, quickly, who's winning Game 4?
Heat. I'm going for the Heat. Even though I was such against the Heat, actually winning against the Lakers, I didn't want it to be a sweep, and it's not going to be a sweep. I'm actually going for the underdogs, and I'm going for Jimmy Butler and the Heat. So it is what it is. We'll see tonight.
You guys are both wrong, but it's okay. Coming up after the break, we have Sebastian and George here to break down the MLB playoffs. Stick with us. Thanks for being with us on SportsZone today. October is here, and that means fall, Halloween, and the MLB playoffs. Here to break it all down with me is Sebastian Nava and Anthony George. How are we doing, guys?
Good.
I'm doing good.
Good. Let's get right into it. Sebastian, I'm going to start with you. Who's coming out of the AL?
There's really no other choice except the Yankees. The Yankees just have it all. You know, Clint Frazier's emerging as the top rookie, and then no one is coming close to Jarrett Cole right now. So I don't see any other option. The A's didn't look good against the Astros, and the Rays definitely didn't look good against the Yankees. So I don't see any other competition for the Yankees this season.
I have to agree. I mean, the A's always seem to be able to choke in the playoffs. The Astros, I really hope they don't win, just because, you know, their whole thing went on. Plus, Altuve's been sucking, and Verlander's out. I really don't think they have the pitching to beat the Yankees. And then the Rays are really the Rays, another team that never is really a playoff team. Does well in the regular season, never been really good in the playoffs. I think the Yankees just take this one.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's going to be tough to beat the Yankees, and the Astros really don't have a chance, especially since they don't have somebody. You know, it's harder to get that hit when you don't know what's coming. I want to go into the NL. I'll go with you, Sebastian. You know, the Braves are coming out, and they look like the team to beat. You know, I know the Dodgers and Padres are also there, but is there anybody in the NL other than the Braves that you're looking forward to?
I mean, you said it yourself, the Dodgers. You know, the Dodgers had the #1 record in baseball, and then Clayton Kershaw actually had a good playoff game for once. So hopefully he continues that momentum going forward. And you also have Mookie Betts on there. You have Cody Bellinger. I mean, they're looking just as stacked as the Braves. So, again, I don't see anyone messing with the Dodgers.
Look, I don't know how you can go away from the Marlins. Look, 2020 is crazy enough. Why not get another Marlins World Series when they have never lost a playoff series? They made it to the playoffs twice in their entire existence. They've won the World Series twice. I mean, let's keep it going. I think the Marlins go all the way. They don't have much talent, and
exactly.
it's
They don't
all
have
on the backs
talent.
of Alcantara. But I mean, look, this year is so wild. There's no reason not to just pick something insane. The Dodgers can't seem to get out of their own head and not choke in the playoffs. The Braves haven't done anything, and their team is so young. I don't know. And then who's even the you're telling me the Padres with that young team is going to be able to come out and win? Their pitching has not been that good so far. So
Okay, so basically what you're saying is the Marlins are going to win because 2020 is crazy, right?
Look, I don't see any other option here.
That sounds insane. I think you mentioned it yourself. They don't have much talent. And I think going up against the Braves, who my own NL pick to win it, look amazing. And I think the Marlins have a chance.
The Braves pitching core is terrible.
What are you talking about? They
Braves
just had
pitching
the
core is
Reds.
terrible.
They held the Reds to 0 runs in 22 innings.
And the Reds are not good either.
What do you-
Joey
Joey-
Votto's older than a dinosaur, and the rest of the roster is terrible. The only other name they have on that team is what? Bauer, and he's a
Eugenio
pitcher.
Suarez is one of the best third basemen in the game.
Get
You can't
outta
just
here.
Okay, so look, it doesn't matter who the team is. It's major league pitching. It's pretty hard to go 22 straight with 0 runs. That is pitching talent in itself.
That's what, 2 games? Anybody can. Who was the pitcher on the Cubs who hit a no-hitter? That's 9 innings. That's half of that, and he was a no-name. Look, in this season and in past seasons, the Braves pitching has not been good. That's just what it is, and I think that continues at some point. And at least the Dodgers have a very well-rounded team. It's not going to be the Braves, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop you right there and just let you know the Braves just beat the Marlins in Game 1, 9-5. So we can go ahead and stop this nonsense going forward.
That's one
I
game.
did want to
And
go
how many runs did they let up? They let up 5 runs still.
9-5. Let's go
They
ahead
have
and move
scored 9,
forward.
though.
We're going to have fans finally in the stands in the NLCS, ALCS. How is that going to impact games going forward? I'll go with you, Sebastian.
Well, obviously, having the fans there, it's weird in this situation because you're at a neutral venue. You're not in, because they're having it at the NLCS, which is going to be here in Arlington. It's going to be weird not having it in Atlanta or San Diego or LA or Miami. So it's going to be a sign of encouragement for the teams there, because they'll have the noise and it makes it more of a lively setting. But I don't think it's going to make much impact on the competition.
I think it's the teams with the biggest fan bases that are going to come out positively in this, unfortunately. I think it's going to be the Yankees, the Dodgers. Those 2 teams are going to have probably the biggest fan turnout just because they have the biggest fan base. So it'll give a small positive to those teams. I think other than that, it's really not going to do anything. I don't see it having that big of an outcome.
Look, I think we've gone ahead and established one thing. Kevin thinks that crazy enough things are going to happen that the Marlins will win, and I think Sebastian has a more logical approach. Let's move on past that, and I think we're both very excited to see the MLB playoffs continuing. I want to say thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of SportsZone, and please be sure to join us next week here at 4 p.m. on Charter 192, Frontier 46, and streaming live on the ntTV Sports YouTube page. Thank you, guys.